Buongiorno, buongiorno ormai basta. Buonasera, buonasera. Siamo nuovamente online. Io spero che i problemi tecnici che abbiamo avuto nel collegamento precedente, soprattutto con il video di Giorgio Kokovic, con il quale ci scusiamo, ma il problema in qualche maniera va al di là della nostra comprensione. Dovremmo cercare di porci rimedio e comunque di diffondere il suo lavoro attraverso i nostri canali. Dunque dicevo, speriamo che i problemi in qualche maniera siano in via di risoluzione. Abbiamo uno degli appuntamenti più attesi di questo Bloomsday Online, di questo Pandemic Bloomsday Worldwide, che è appunto l'incontro con Darina Gallagher del Joyce Centre di Dublino. Hi Darina. Hi.
Hello Trieste.
Happy Bloomsday.
Happy Bloomsday.
Yeah. Happy Bloomsday to you and to all the people around you. How is going the day? How was this Bloomsday today?
It's been really great. We had no real idea how it would work. An online Bloomsday, so people have been watching the Bloomsday Film Festival online and our breakfast performance this morning. But there's so many things going on, but there's actually some live events that for the first time, people are beginning to meet up even a little bit. So Bloomsday feels like the first celebration together after lockdown, after all the stress of the last few months. So there is a party atmosphere in Dublin today, in small moments around the city. So I went to the tower in Sandy Cove for a swim this morning, and people were dressed up in their Sandy Cove. So I was in there at the 40-foot, like Buck Mulligan, went down for my swim in the snot green sea, and it was cold but wonderful. And people were dressed up in their hats and their clothes like the characters in Ulysses. So it was really fun. And then went to Sweeney's Chemist, where they were outdoors. Everything was outside. People were cooking grilled mutton kidneys on a barbecue, and had a little whiskey, which I didn't have any whiskey. I promise I didn't have. I'm going to wait. I'm going to wait for my whiskey. So people like my good friend Paul in this picture were dressed up like Leopold Bloom or James Joyce or Molly or Buck Mulligan or the different characters. So today has felt really special that we maybe have turned a corner in our pandemic Bloomsday, that really we had a celebration in Dublin, but also a shared celebration.
It's really a good news. I'm so glad about it. Yeah. Also because Bloomsday is something very significant for Dublin, and this is of course it's because of tradition, also because of people like to participate in it, and they like to dress and like to and so I already confessed that I've never been there, because I discovered Bloomsday in my life after we began to do it in Trieste. So I can move, but okay, I know it somehow because I saw many photos, I saw many movies, and so on. And yeah, this is of the city related to the Joycean places and related to Bloomsday. So would you like to comment them somehow, to explain what we are saying now? What is this place, for example?
This is Sweeney's Chemist, so a pharmacy. And Leopold Bloom buys some lemon soap in here. He has to get some medicine or a prescription for Molly Bloom, his wife. So he goes into this chemist, and we're really lucky in Dublin that not many places have been saved, but this luckily has been saved. So it continued to be a chemist right up until just about 15 years ago. And a group of volunteers took it over, and now it has reading groups and events. It's really tiny. It's a really small space, but everybody crams in and has their copy of Portrait of the Artist or Finnegan's Wake or Ulysses, and you get a cup of tea, and it's all free, run by volunteers. But you can give a donation or buy a book or buy some lemon soap. So they make still the lemon soap. Maybe you've seen that.
No, I have some. I have some because I've been there. I've never been in Dublin for Bloomsday, but when I was in Dublin, of course, I went to the Joycean place. And of course, I went to Sweeney, and I have some of them lemon soup somewhere here. Then I tried to change the image. Oh yeah, we are here. Where we are here.
This is in my center. This is at the moment I'm lucky and honored to be director of the James Joyce Centre, which is, as you can see, a beautiful old building. And this image is taken from, I think it's last year, and our Bloomsday Breakfast. So traditionally at 8 a.m., the start of the book, people gather, and the Bloomsday Breakfast, we can have 3 breakfasts in a morning and get lots of people in to have different breakfasts. But the first breakfast on Bloomsday is very special. We have the Lord Mayor of Dublin, the first citizen of the city. And we also are lucky enough to have members of the Joyce family that are still alive, and they usually attend. And these could be small children, sometimes little babies dressed up in clothes, friends of the Joyce Centre, special politicians, maybe sometimes our Prime Minister has attended. But unfortunately today, of course, we couldn't have it. So I went into the centre with 3 friends, and we had our own small breakfast in the James Joyce Centre today. Just
a private one.
A private one to continue the tradition. So that was lovely.
That's perfect. Okay, here we are in front of Sweeney again. Here we are inside the Joyce Centre.
Yes, this is part of our exhibition, our permanent exhibition in the Joyce Centre, and it's trying to recreate what Joyce's bedroom would have been like, perhaps in Trieste. You can see the old bed and books that he would have been reading in his library, some images and letters. So it's a really tiny little dark space in there, but really atmospheric and hopefully familiar to you guys, and a little bit of Trieste. Yeah, and that's just part of that room. Yeah, so that's some of his.
Darina came to the Joyce Museum in Trieste last year. It was maybe September or something like this.
November. It was November. Remember in the floods? There was the flooding.
Oh yeah, I remember. Yeah, it was awful weather, and and so he knew our museum as I know the James Joyce Centre somehow. Okay, let's go on. Okay, here we are again inside the museum.
So every table gets its own character. So this table is Gertie McDowell.
I see. Okay, because every table is characterized by
a different character.
I see.
Yes, and there's performances. I often sing at the breakfast as well, and actors perform parts of Ulysses, and we sing songs together from Ulysses. So it's really.
I know that. In fact, I would like to ask you if you don't mind to sing something for us.
Of course, I'd love to.
Okay, thank you so much.
I was going to sing an Irish song, which includes some Irish language, but it's sung by Stephen Dedalus at near the end of Ulysses, in the Ithaca section. And Stephen and Bloom are discussing nationhood and history and the ties between different nations. So I thought it might be good for us, since we're making our links between our two nations.
Okay, that's perfect. So, as you already introduced it, would you mind to play it for us?
Sure.
Now?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, I wish I was on yonder hill. It's there I'd sit and cry my fill, and every tear would turn a mill. Is good J to morning slone. Shul, shul, shul avarum. Shul gusakaraga shul gukyun. Shul gudarasaki selilam. Iskajay to morning slon. I'll dye my petticoats, I'll dye them red, and round the world I'll beg my bread, until my parents wish me dead. Iskajay to morning slon. Shul, shul, shul avarum. Shul gusakaraga shul gukyun. Shul gudarasaki selilam. Iskajay to morning slon. Oh, I've sold my axe and I've sold my wheel to buy my love a sword of steel, so it in battle he might wield. Oh, my Johnny's gone for a soldier. Shul, shul, shul avarum. Shul gusakaraga shul gukyun. Shul gudarasaki selilam. Iskajay to morning slon. There you go.
Darina, applause for a single person is somehow sad, but it is symbolic of all the audience who actually I know appreciate it a lot. Your beautiful voice, I already know it, of course, but as all the participants to the breakfast know, as you told me, because you
So that's me there singing with my good colleague Sinead, and we performed in Trieste a number of years ago as part of the really wonderful international summer school. And we had the privilege of attending as students also for one day. We didn't have much time a few years ago in Trieste. We had to leave quite quickly, but I got to attend the Ulysses Workshop, and Sinead was at the Finnegan's Wake Workshop. And there were students in Trieste from all over the world. And I was the only Irish person at that seminar workshop group. And all they wanted to hear was Ulysses spoken by a person from Ireland. You know, they were from India or Hungary, and they had the idea of what it should sound like in their heads. So they really wanted to hear it's spoken by an Irish person. So this image gives you an idea of people dressing up in different from different characters. And this is at the train station that brings you to Sandy Cove, to the Joyce Tower. Yeah, so these are lots of photographs from getting on the train to bring you to the Bloomsday train. But unfortunately, this didn't happen today. Oh, no, yeah.
Okay, but it will happen again next year.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yes.
Okay, we already saw this. Okay, here we are. Oh, David Byrne, the pub, one of the pub.
Burns, yes. So there was an event today outside the pub. So the pubs are still closed in Dublin, in Ireland, but they had an event outside with people singing and speaking text. And the Davy Burns section of the book is really fun, where Bloom is eating his gorgonzola sandwich and drinking his burgundy, and the characters are all discussing life and gambling and
Of course, we know. And okay, where? Oh, this is some speech or some.
This is one of usually we have a lecture or a number of lectures, and with different writers, international writers that come to Dublin. So this didn't happen this year, but we were able to link up with really interesting writers and actors and performers. So we have a readings and songs event tonight where they were able to pre-record. So yeah, and there's me again with some children. This year we decided to kind of focus on children a little bit, because often they're forgotten about in these celebrations, in these festivals. So we created a book for children, an easy guide with lots of games and activities to give children an introduction to Joyce. So in Dublin, in Ireland, they have heard the name James Joyce so often, and they've heard of Bloomsday, but they really don't know what it's about or who he is. So we wanted to give children some little guide. And also at the centre, I think it's important that children are welcome and that they can learn about Irish writing, and especially this very famous writer, and to understand a little bit of his books. And so much of his writing is about childhood. Portrait of the Artist is really his early childhood and adolescence. And even in Ulysses, there's so many children, there's so many child characters that come in and out, not always in a happy place, that their parent has died or maybe their life isn't great, they're in poverty, but really to get children to understand through history, social history of what life was like in 1904, what life was like for children at that time, I think is important too.
Yeah, I totally agree. Okay, here's a concert on the street.
Yeah. So this is the street. When all your listeners and viewers come to Dublin, the James Joyce Centre is on a beautiful old Georgian street, Georgian architecture. And for many years, they've closed off the street at both ends and had a big party. So this is a photograph of one of the years that they had a street party and invited musicians again. And I mean, Joyce's, his books are full of music, so it's very easy to have a party and a concert. And this is one of Ireland's premier actors, and his work focuses on Beckett, Samuel Beckett, on W.B. Yeats, and of course James Joyce. His name is Barry McGovern, and I got him to read for me this year at an event. What was interesting this year is that I was like this, able to work with you, and I was able to work with the Irish Embassy in Washington and with the Yates Society in Sligo. So the three of us got together and did a live event, and Barry was one of the readers, and he was really great. He's been reading Joyce for years, so when he knows it so well, you know, when you hear somebody and the work is somehow very deep inside of them, and that understanding really is communicated so easily.
Yeah, I agree with you. This is the good part of this also situation of us is now, and the fact it's easier to work together. No, this is interesting, and this is something we must try to keep on to take with us. There is a painting behind his shoulder on the wall, and it is a painting that the Joyceans know quite well.
The painting behind Barry there is John Stanislaus Joyce. So that's Joyce's father. And actually, very interestingly, I was thinking about him today. He had such a huge effect on Joyce's life. I was looking at the beginning of Portrait of the Artist. So the very start of the book, once upon a time, and a very good time it was, there was a moo cow coming down along the road. And this moo cow that was coming down along the road met a nicens little boy named Baby Tuckoo. His father told him that story. His father looked at him through a glass. He had a hairy face. He was Baby Tuckoo. The moo cow came down the road where Betty Byrne lived. She sold lemon platt. And he goes on to sing the song that his father sang to him, which was an American song. So these are the influences of Joyce's early childhood. So as a tiny child in the nursery, listening to his father singing. But of course, his father was an alcoholic, a difficult person. And I was thinking about Joyce, so his early writing with Portrait, and then going on to Finnegan's Wake, and the very end of Finnegan's Wake, where Anna Livia, as the river Liffey going through Dublin city, is going out to meet the sea, finally to say goodbye, and is ending, I am passing out, oh bitter ending. But of course, she's going out to meet her father, her cold, mad father, her cold, mad, fiery father. So I was thinking of Joyce and this father obsession, that at the last pages of his last book is going to meet his father again, and this cycle continuing. I think it's kind of amazing. That piece is amazing, that I'm passing out, oh bitter ending. I'll slip away before they're up. They'll never see, nor know, nor miss me. And it's old and old, it's sad and old, it's sad and weary. I go back to you, my cold father, my cold, mad father, my cold, mad, fiery father, till the near sight of the mere size of him, the moils and moils of it, makes me sea silt salt sick, and I rush my only into your arms. So that's the river meeting the sea, but it is maybe Joyce thinking of his crazy, cold, strange father also.
Of course. Okay, I believe we are near to finish our short tour on Dublin in Bloomsday. Okay, this. Oh, wait. Okay, this is interesting. This is the bust, the statue of Joyce. Where is it?
in St. Stephen's Green, so right in the center of the city, and very close to our new Museum of Literature, Molly. I don't know if you heard of our new Museum of Literature. So this is right in the center, St. Stephen's Green, and Joyce makes a joke that Stephen Dedalus calls it his green, his park. Stephen Dedalus jokes. So it's quite a small, as you can see, statue to Joyce. But now we have a street named after him and a bridge. So he's getting more famous in the city, more landmarks.
Yeah.
This is a lovely city park, though. It's really beautiful.
Short bridge and no, not the street, but la scaletta Joyce. No, it is the step near one of his interesting addresses. Okay, okay. Here we are again inside.
That's our president, the president of Ireland, speaking, and we're very lucky in Ireland at the moment to have Michael D. Higgins as our president. He's a poet, and a writer, and even today he hosted a party for James Joyce. And his message today was to support artists at this time and how vulnerable they are. So I thought he always says the right thing. We're very lucky that he is a voice for all of us.
Yeah, you are, of course. Yeah, you are indeed. So, Darina, thank you so much. Thank you so much. It was so pleasant. So I was so happy to meet you again, and of course, I hope we will meet in person as soon as possible, and we will continue to collaborate and to share this passion about this writer and all the world with around this writer, because this writer is the center of a small but not so small and very interesting and lovely work. Okay, thank you so much, Darina.
Thank you.
Good evening. Bye bye. Ciao.